And now to what looks like a bitter end for the Rajapaksas. We're heading to Sri Lanka, where the situation is not improving and protests are not subsiding. Colombo witnessed a mass walkout today. Students, teachers, train drivers, trade unions, bank employees, everyone joined the mass agitation against the Rajapaksas. Take a look at this. It started with just a few hundred people. Today, millions of workers joined the strike. A big crowd has permanently been camping outside the presidential secretariat. The secretariat is currently occupied by Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Sri Lankans want him to quit.
Trade unions representing the government, semi-government as well as certain private trade unions staged protests island-wide demanding President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the Rajapaksa-led government to step down. Now, trade unions varying from the transportation sector, the medical sector as well as important government institutions took a step back from their duties today, and some of these trade unions have now convened here at the Occupy Golface protest site, which is one of the central sites of protest that have continued to protest and voice the citizens' concerns for more than 2 weeks here in Sri Lanka.
A no-confidence motion against Gotabaya Rajapaksa is ready. It will be tabled whenever the parliament convenes next. The president's brother, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, is also in trouble. Rebel lawmakers have presented him with two choices: resign honorably or be evicted. Remember, 40 lawmakers had broken away from the government in Sri Lanka. The Rajapaksas used to have a majority in parliament. Well, they don't anymore. No one could have imagined this a few months back. The Rajapaksas were the de facto rulers of their country. 5 members of the Rajapaksa clan were ministers, with Gotabaya and Mahinda Rajapaksa occupying the most powerful positions. Together, this family controlled 75% of the government's budget. Now, just 2 brothers remain, and their kingdom is falling apart. The public backlash is creating divisions between the brothers. There are reports of a rift. Let's look at this tweet. It's from Namal Rajapaksa, son of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, also the former Minister of Youth and Sports. Let's look at what Namal Rajapaksa says, and I'm quoting. A section of the general public are busy protesting against the government. The opposition is busy organizing a protest march. The ruling coalition is divided and trying to create a majority while the country is suffering. Are we truly addressing the issues at hand, or busy with different agendas? Quite a rant. Well, there was one line that stands out. The ruling coalition is divided. This post confirms what many have suspected. The Sri Lankan government is divided, and these divisions flow from the top. The first signs of a rift emerged on the 19th of April. Mahinda Rajapaksa made a statement. He proposed a constitutional amendment. An amendment that will clip the powers of the president, his own brother. An amendment that will transfer those powers to the parliament. And this was a very significant announcement because remember, the Rajapaksas were the ones who made the president all-powerful in Sri Lanka. They were the ones who passed the 20th amendment. That was 2 years back. This amendment gave the president powers to appoint the prime minister, to appoint the cabinet, and also to dismiss them at will. He is all-powerful. But now the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Mahinda Rajapaksa, wants those powers revoked. He doesn't want his brother to have the power to sack him. Obviously, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is not pleased. He recently shot off a letter to the powerful Buddhist clergy, and I have a copy of that letter with me. And this is what Gotabaya Rajapaksa says. He's talking about the 20th Amendment. And I'm quoting, if any action is taken in Parliament in this regard, and would like to kindly remind you that such an amendment would be made jointly by the President and Parliament. Basically, Gotabaya Rajapaksa wants to have a say in curtailing his own powers. Lankan politics, I say, is beyond farcical right now. So this is what we have. The brothers are engaged in a tug of war. Neither wants the other to be more powerful. Plus, some lawmakers close to the President want the Prime Minister to be sacked. They want a non-Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. They want a new but interim government. So far, the president has not committed to any of this. All he has agreed to is an all-party government, or what they're calling a unity government. Gotabaya Rajapaksa has written to leaders of all political parties. They're all meeting tomorrow. The last time he pitched this idea, it was rejected, so we'll have to wait and see what happens this time. The brothers are divided over cabinet appointments too. When the president appointed, in fact, a new cabinet, the Prime Minister skipped the swearing-in ceremony. Reports say he was not consulted on these appointments. Mahinda wanted senior politicians, Gotabaya wanted younger faces, and he prevailed as president. So Mahinda boycotted their induction. And he was asked about this. He was asked if these reports were true. The Prime Minister denied reports of a rift. But what about the constitutional amendment, the one that will weaken the president's position? Well, that is very much in the works. And if this power struggle worsens, Sri Lanka can forget about any economic relief in the short term. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.